Welcome, everyone, to Episode 7 of the ROONS and MIZZ Arsenal Chat. I'm ROONS,
And I'm Miz.
and we come at you every Friday to talk about all things Arsenal, the good, the bad, and the ugly. MIZZ, mate, what do we got on
What's
the
up?
docket today?
On the list today, we got a transfer roundup. The window closed on Monday, October 5th. I had the date wrong, or the time wrong, but it was 11 p.m. UK time.
No, I kept thinking, like, oh, it's going to be over. And then
Yeah.
a couple hours, and they were still talking. I was like,
Yeah, I was like,
what's the deal?
yeah. I'm glad we have something to talk about with that, so that's nice. The Sheffield United game that we had on Sunday, right before the international break. What else we got? We got look ahead to Man City and internationals. We're going to talk about internationals. Everybody on duty. We got a lot of players gone these 2 weeks.
Couple of England call-ups.
Yep, some notables.
Debut, so
yep,
yeah.
and yep. So nice things to talk about. And then we're going to look to Man City to the Saturday fixture next week against a team that's a good side.
So that's a week from tomorrow, right?
It's a week from tomorrow. I believe it's the 9:30 Pacific time game, so the 5:30 UK time game. So evening match. I think it's the last one of the day, unless they're doing that later one that they're doing now sometimes. So, yeah, let's get going. Transfer news.
All
Partey.
right.
We signed Partey.
We did it.
Yeah.
Did it.
Yep.
Massive. For once, a player that we're linked to constantly, we actually get in that same window.
Not 5 years later, not 3 years later, in the same window. A really good player. Everybody, everything that I've seen, everybody rates him. So,
yeah, he's a player kind of like Tierney, where other people, other clubs, other players are like, this guy's good. You guys did a good job.
Yep.
Well done.
Yep. We didn't get Hassan Aouar. We were talking about that one. Sounds like he wants to go to Real Madrid next summer, or even in January. Hard to compete with that when you got a team like the Galacticos and Zidane running the show, and you got, they're in Champions League and they come in for him. Yeah, they pipped him. So I think we were in pole position to sign him, and he seemed to want to go there, and then all of a sudden that kind of turned. So,
well, the thing is, I feel like the board at Arsenal knew all along we're going to get one or the other.
Yeah, it wasn't both.
We're not going to pay more than $45 million more in this window. And so if we can get Aouar, I think they would probably have gotten Aouar. But Lyon was like, it's 55 or bust. No negotiation. They offered like 30 and then 36. And Lyon told Arsenal to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Which is not surprising.
Yeah, we're used to hearing this from other teams with our low ball offers. So,
and even what they did with Partey seems to have everyone off involved. But
well, I guess with that, I get that they went around and went straight to La Liga and didn't go to Atletico and paid the release clause to La Liga. And they were trying to buy him. They were trying to talk to Atletico. Atletico wouldn't talk to him. And we did loan Torreira in the other way. They should have entertained something like that. In the beginning of the summer, Simeone said, if he goes to Arsenal, he goes to Arsenal. It's a good side. I can't stop him. I've had him for 5 years. So, it's
not a surprise. It's not if he didn't anticipate the possibility that Partey might leave, then that's
exactly. And they weren't planning for that. I do like the ruthlessness from the Arsenal recruitment side, though, taking that straight to La Liga and just paying that. It might not bode well business-wise for clubs in the future, like dealing with Atletico, but they'll probably get over it. If there's a player that they got to deal with or they want at some point, they'll be able to do it.
They're not going to say, "Oh, well, you guys were unkind to us last time."
Well, it's not our fault that that's the rule in La Liga, that you can go straight pay the release clause, which is an interesting thing because in the Premier League, they don't really have release clauses like that.
Yeah. The strange thing to me, though, I love the fact that we got Partey. I will say overall it was a great window for what we added to our squad. Clear quality. Justin Gabriel by
Yep.
himself.
And
We have
William,
a good player who's already he's in the squad. He's adjusted. He's got man of the match like 3 of
two
the 4
times.
games.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So that's a solid window just with that.
Yeah.
But the way they deal with other clubs and the way they deal with the fans can be frustrating because it's like, oh, so you paid the release clause?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you just pay for it in August and he could have been training and been playing this whole time?
Yeah.
Like
maybe won the game against Liverpool.
Seriously. I mean, you throw
Yeah.
Park in there, that 3-1 when Laka has that chance,
Yeah.
that's a different game. That's a totally different game with Partey.
Yeah.
And it's just also like it just seemed like the talk coming or the feeling from the board was that we just don't have money to spend. It's COVID, we don't have any money. And then all of a sudden they just, oh, here's the 45 you asked for. We'll go to La Liga. We'll bypass Atletico and just get the player. And it's like, so you could do that. Why didn't you do that?
You
want to wait
yeah.
the last minute to see if they can save like $6 or $7 million bucks. What's the difference really?
Yeah, and maybe they have a different mentality on it in the back, and they're talking about like, who can we sign? Who can we get? What's the other possibility? Because is Partey the top target? Maybe not. Like, there might be another top target you're chasing that, like, I did see that they're saying he's part of like a 7-month recruitment plan that they have going. So in January, I mean, the window opens again in 2 months.
Which is crazy.
Crazy. That's crazy. It's so soon. I mean, there's going to be some movement again in January. You imagine this was a bit like kind of a strange window, but a lot of movement. A lot of players like Cavani to United is one that's been. I mean, just things that have been talked about for years have like come to fruition this summer. That were like
last minute deals,
yeah,
day signings.
Chelsea did a lot of business.
A ton
of business. Man City did a lot of business.
Yeah, and deals that didn't get made because they ran out of time. A lot of, especially with Barcelona, like they wanted Memphis to pay. They wanted Eric Garcia from Man City. There was talks of Dembele moving somewhere
to United, but he wants to go to Juventus, I guess. And we wanted him at Arsenal. I mean, Aubameyang is like really good friends with him and wanted him there. Maybe that could maybe happen at some point. Who knows what their plans are? Arteta seems to keep it tight-chested a little bit.
Yeah. But he said that he has the backing of the board. I think he's on the same page with them.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because that's what you want. That's what you hope for. And there's the worry that they're going to leave Arteta out to dry and he might go somewhere else. If there's 2 or 3 windows where we flat out don't spend any money, then it's only imaginable that he's going to start thinking like, I want to go somewhere else.
Totally. I mean, he's
not.
Yeah. I mean, I think Arteta seems to have control of the situation pretty well. Like, he seems to be getting what he wants, like signing the players that he wants, getting rid of who he doesn't want. I mean, Guendouzi to Hertha Berlin on loan.
That's a good test for him. And maybe
he'll come back.
Ideally he goes there, he starts playing well. Then we bring him back and we can sit down and have a talk with him and say, how are you doing? Is your mind right? What you did before was unacceptable. We can't have that anymore. If you do that again, we'll sell you. Yeah, you're gone. If you want to play for this club and you're serious about it, he could really help us.
I did think it was interesting that I did think it was interesting though. The only player to mention it on social media was Mesut Ozil. Did Guendouzi fall out with the rest of the team as well though? Because he wasn't training with the first team anymore, really. Like sometimes was in that, but sometimes was training alone. I mean, was that whole like scenario that he like fell out with the whole team and that, because that's, usually they're like, good luck, bro. Like, they say it to everybody, even if they were just like when Iwobi left, dude, they like Aubameyang and them are posting like a ton of videos about him and just like he's a class act. Iwobi's cool. Iwobi's probably a dope dude. Like sure. He seems funny. I mean, I thought he was going to be amazing. He he was good for a little bit, and then he
Yeah, he
kind of
never
teetered
quite
off.
got over the hump into a
Yeah,
solidly consistent good player, but you always
similar
like
like Walcott, similar player. Like they never really got there, and then now they're both leaving Everton, and
but you can. Oh, Iwobi's leaving Everton as well.
I think he's just not really playing. I can
Right.
imagine
Yeah,
him leaving within the next year. He's like a reserve
yeah.
player
I
kind of
saw him got
now.
an assist to Hamas, one of them. But yeah,
They're good. They're good. That's a good team.
yeah. I still think we can. I'm
We
not
can beat
afraid
them.
of when we
I'm not
play.
afraid of them. No. Hymus, I mean, he went to Everton for a reason, not one of the other ones. So
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the window before
Gunner Source.
before we got Party. Well, okay. There's well,
We come back to it. I'm just
yeah,
messing with you.
yeah. But before we got Party, I was saying this is just terrible. I was
Yep.
pissed. It was very
Because
like
we
Gabriel,
desperately need a midfielder. We have 8 center backs. We desperately need a midfielder at this point.
right, and we have two targets lined up that would fit in exactly what we need. If we don't get either of them, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And not only that, just looking at it and even now, even with Party, you look at what we spent, and the people who spent more than us,
Yeah. Chelsea, Man City, and
Chelsea, Man City, Aston Villa,
yeah,
Leeds.
yeah.
There's other ones too, but
At least we spent 100 million, so that like at least brings the tally up a little bit. You're like, okay, well, at least you spent some money. Like
yeah,
it's
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 just
just not enough. It's not enough. It needs to be at least like 50 more. It's
well,
they gotta scrummage up that extra cash somehow, and that is
hey,
Champions League football partially
well, what's frustrating about it is I'm not asking them to spend money just only spend.
to buy.
Make
Yeah, to
money
just
as
blow that.
well.
Yep.
In terms of the money made, we're even farther down the list because
Yeah.
we didn't do any real business with selling players. Like, why can't Torreira be sold?
Yeah.
For
Why did he go? He's on loan, and that seems like a
that's
permanent. That seems like a permanent deal,
like
probably,
we
or
couldn't.
he's off.
Yeah, like we know we wanted to move on. He wants to move on. He's
Yeah.
still a very good player. I was just watching some highlights the other day. He scored in that North London derby.
Yeah. Sick goal. Sick goal. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I
And
don't know why he wasn't
you got to
really
be like 35 million at least for him. Like
pre-COVID. 35 is easy for Torreira.
easy. Yeah. That's like, come on. And I don't understand why that deal can't get done either. I mean, he could go back to Italy. He could go to Spain. He could go to all sorts of places around Europe. I mean, he could see him in the League One. Like, he's good enough to play a lot of places.
Yeah,
How are we having?
Italy and Spain, multiple teams wanted him.
Yeah. I mean, Spanish-speaking player, it's going to be easy for him to adapt. He's not really going to struggle there. Like, it's a slower pace. He's used to the Premier League now. It's just like, why can't we offload that one?
Yeah,
That's weird. That's weird.
Like, because he wants to leave, we're okay with it. He's still young, still good. That just seems like an open and shut. We'll find a team that really needs him, wants him.
Yeah.
Pay 35 million for him. Everyone's happy. That's money we missed out on again.
Yeah.
Then I mean, we had talked about this a couple weeks ago. There's basically an entire 11 of theoretical players they could leave.
That we
Obviously, you don't think all of them will leave. Some of them you don't want them to leave. Maybe some of them end up doing well, like we were talking about, like Bellerin and Maitland-Niles and players like that who they're on the squad. I don't think they're contributing enough, but then they're also getting key kind of passes, and like Bellerin's getting an assist. Like, he might not do anything. He'll play shit the entire game, but you got that assist to Saka. It kind of justifies him being there on the team, you know?
Yeah.
But if we need money, if we want to, like, I would rather us spend 150 and then maybe sell a player like Bellerin for 40 to lower it down so our net spend is what it was right now. 60,
I think,
you know,
I agree. I think Bellerin is the type of player that could have gone by now. He's slowed down, lost some pace. Move on to Italy, wherever you want to go play. Spain. I mean, Barcelona wanted him. Like, he could go back.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
while his brand is still big as well, like,
yeah.
you use all of this as a package to make it a smooth transition. Is
Hmm.
it the worst thing that we have Bellerin? They're
No.
not necessarily. He's
Yeah,
done good things undeniably. I don't think he's good enough for the full 90 minutes. His touch isn't
yeah.
great. He's not doing
Can't
enough.
cross. He can't cross usually. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, he got
he's
that
yeah,
assist, but he's not he doesn't whip it in. He doesn't
yeah.
have a particular weapon you can identify.
I'd say you put Niles there instead at this point because he's completely 180 from when he looked like he was leaving.
Right. Now he's, a totally different
Balling.
player and stature. But even him, I would say, not if we lost Maitland Niles, I don't see the team crumbling.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
another one that was weird we couldn't get rid of is Kolasinac. Like, I mean, it was like 10 million back to Skalka, and he wanted to go there. They wanted him to go, and why can't that one take place? Like Arsenal obviously doesn't see a future for him. So when like who are they not answering the phone? Are they what's going on there?
Well, it's strange too when you have a player like Kolasinac who is talked about leaving, and then he starts,
Yeah,
doesn't play well, and you're like,
yeah.
it just seems like it's time to move on.
Do you think Arteta does that to force him out a little bit too? A little bit of tactics like in the window? We could probably carry this a few more minutes and then touch
Yeah,
on Sheffield after because the transfer there's a lot that went on. So
yeah, and it's really important. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, like it could be a tactical thing. I think Arteta has like long term plans and like knows how to get the right things out of which players.
yeah.
Um, I mean, they seem to all be performing on the when they're on pretty well.
and
I mean,
and doing their job. I think
yeah,
I think his formations require a certain number of role players, like
yep,
standard, and that's essentially the whole midfield in the 3-4-3. You have a role.
yeah.
You're
Do
not there
this,
to go out there
do
and
yeah,
go wild and go nuts.
wild, yeah,
And you're there
yeah,
to not lose the ball, to prevent them from counterattacking,
yep,
have high pass completion percentage, and hopefully set up the front three with enough to score goals.
yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, he seems to have organized that pretty well.
yeah,
I mean, they all seem to
that's
know.
what I,
They all seem to know what they're doing, which I could say that's not the same for Arsenal teams in the past.
no, definitely.
Like,
Even if they're
like,
not doing a lot, or
yeah,
even if they're not out there and you're like, wow, that player is amazing. They know what they're doing, and for the most
mm,
part, they're doing it. And you're seeing that in the results. And you're
yeah,
seeing the overall mentality of the team and how they play, the body language is that they know what they're doing. They're not out there just kind of like floating around and hoping something good happens, but also getting caught, in counterattack positions or caught out of position, where
yeah,
it's just a mess and we're
yeah.
getting scored on like how it was in the past. So,
Well, they look. I mean, then that can lead into Sheffield or however we talk about it. But we didn't play particularly well that day. Fatigue could have been setting in. You played Liverpool twice in the same week, once in a cup and once in penalties, and then the 3-1 loss was on Monday. We had a game Thursday, Sunday. That's a lot of football in a week,
yeah.
and so they looked a little tired, but they still grinded out the result, which is important. Which is things that we did struggle with. We in the past, like I remember this particular game of West Bromwich Albion in like 2010, where we're winning like 2-1, and they come back and beat us 3-2
Yeah.
at the Hawthorns. And you're like, come on, like there's no reason to lose the game like that at that point.
Yeah, or being 2 up against Crystal Palace and then ends up 2-2 in
Yeah,
Emery's tenure. Like in last year, we would have tied against West Ham and
yeah,
with Sheffield.
yeah.
With the end of Wenger, we would have lost one of those games and tied one of those games.
Oh,
So to have
easily.
6
Yeah.
points instead of 1 or 0 or 2, that's huge. I mean,
Our
that's
prediction,
4 points.
And our predictions have been spot on lately. We did say lose to Liverpool in the league, win the cup, Sheffield Wednesday. It's going to be a tough game, 2-1.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Right. And
Yeah.
in the first half, I was thinking well,
Yeah.
we said like it's either going to be a grind game with no momentum, really tough,
Mm-hmm.
hard to break down, or it's going to be a free flowing and we're going to do them like Fulham. And the first half was definitely the former, where it was
Yeah.
like I was watching this and being like, oh no,
Ooh. Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. It got a little better. It got a little better towards the end,
Well, they brought on
but
Pepe,
and he changed it.
changed
Yeah.
the game. Pepe
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
immense.
Which
That
you know
goal,
what maybe he's going to start to blossom a little bit too. Now Willian is starting ahead of Pepe, so Pepe's probably like, "What the fuck? Like I need to play better. I need to get into the game, and when I'm on, I need to score or do something." Did both. So
seriously. I mean, I want to see Pepe, Laka, and Abba. Just start them,
yeah,
please. I
yeah,
feel like
they did
they're all
when they've done it.
competent players, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. And when they play together, they've played well. The three of them.
They have chemistry. Those are our
They do.
three main firepower
Yeah,
players. Just
yeah.
you
Because I
can't
think Pepe, I hope that he really comes to fruition. Because if they say he's as good as he is, like that means he's like, I mean, talent wise, everybody says he's like the most talented player in practice.
for sure. And
That's saying something because there's some pretty good dudes on that team. I'd say like Saka is probably very talented. He's a very talented kid.
yeah,
Like he's already in the England squad. He's 18 years old.
yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, like he's playing well. Like it's like undeniably a good player. Like he's almost going to be in the starting squad soon. And
And deservedly so. He's getting. I
yeah,
mean, he scored one of the goals against Sheffield. Really well taken header. He didn't panic. He didn't miss
oh yeah,
that. I mean,
he
it was
easily can miss that
on the
goal.
plate, but if you're not mentally strong, you miss
Yeah,
that. If you're a little bit
yeah.
afraid, you kind of hold back a little bit, and the keeper saves it, or you head it and it hits the bar, or it's
Any doubt that you're going to miss that, you're going to miss it.
yeah.
Like
And he
it
had enough time to think about it and
yeah.
get nervous, but he just kept his ground and just
And clean. Yep.
A huge goal.
Yeah. He scored a few times, and he scored that one ripped the one day. Like
Yeah, I love Saka.
me too. He's a really good player. We gotta keep him. So
for sure.
Nketiah as well. And every time Nketiah plays, like he's dangerous.
Scored again yesterday for the U21s.
Yep.
Now he's tied with Shearer for most goals in the U21s.
That's pretty good. I mean, the top Premier League scorer of all time. So I mean,
yeah, it's a pretty good. I mean, I think we forget that these players are still young. You know, so like Nketiah, like his first touch, I feel like is not where it should be, but he's still young. It takes time. And I heard something that Wenger said recently, where he was saying that Phil Foden is a really great player, but he doesn't play enough.
Yeah.
And he was saying that you need 100 games in the EPL to know where your position is. 100. That's 3 seasons.
Yeah, that's crazy.
3 full seasons of playing.
Well, I mean, Foden is supposed to. I mean, Pep Guardiola said he'll never sell Phil Foden. He said any club that Pep Guardiola goes to manage, he said Phil Foden's the player I'm taking with me. So that's saying something. I don't know. No one even tries to buy him because I think it's so far out of reach. You'll never be able to get him as a player.
Yeah, well, I mean, for his age and his confidence on the ball and
oh my God, he's so good.
Touch and just, I mean, when he passes the ball, it's with pace and a surety. You know, like he's not nervous out there, and to be that young and have that kind of mentality, is priceless.
England actually have a pretty decent chance to win the World Cup. Like this squad that they have right now, there's a lot of good players on that team.
I like the squad they put out yesterday.
Yeah. Dude, they used to be crap. And any British person knows this. Like they all know that they were shit for a while. But like they got a really good crop of players now. Multiple players at Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United. They got like Leicester. I mean, there's players that like aren't going to get into that team that are like very good.
Yeah, and you have players like Ings and Calvert-Lewin who,
Yeah.
Ings had a great season last year.
And Calvert-Lewin, he's amazing now. Like
Byron, he's
yeah.
scoring like
I mean, he
5
comes from
in a row.
he comes from a good family, so
Yeah.
like a good football family. There's a like his dad was like involved, so I think he was a player at some point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and then they have like Cody who scored yesterday. Plays for Wolves. If you're playing center back for Wolves, you got to be tough. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I mean, Maguire probably isn't even getting in that England team at this point.
No, Maguire, I think he's wanted back in Mykonos. He's going to serve about 6 months in a Greek jail. One of those stone-walled, windowless rooms.
I mean, his price tag was 80 million and not warranted for a center back that was like unproven.
Well, I mean,
he won the league at Leicester, and then you go to United, and like that was a ridiculous price.
We talked about our window and how it pretty much could have been better, but very solid window. I almost hate to say it because I don't want to give the board any credit, you know.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, this is we have improved noticeably, and then you have a team like Manchester United making panic buys. You buy Cavani. What are you going to do with Cavani? So you're going to sit Rashford, or Martial now has to sit. You have Greenwood, who had a great season, who is an up-and-comer. Now he doesn't see a path to start or to play. Or you bench Cavani, and then you just brought someone for no reason.
Yeah, and he's old. It's like you're coming at the twilight of your career to the Premier League. It's like Zlatan doing it too. Like, I mean, he was all right for some games and scored, but like, dude, this is the toughest league in the world. You better come at the prime of your career, like when you're super fit.
And getting someone at the twilight of their career is just not the same. Even if you got Cristiano right now, maybe maybe Cristiano and Messi are somewhat different, but even then, it's not the same as getting Cristiano at his peak.
Yeah,
and
like when he went to Real to begin with.
Yeah,
like in that period, like you would want him then.
Well, that's what I think Manchester United fans expect, because that's what they used to be able to get. And this window was a real humbling experience for Manchester United, because you had multiple players who they tried to recruit like that and they were willing to pay for, who were just like, no way, I'm not going to Manchester United. I don't want to do it. Please don't make me go.
Like Jadon Sancho. Like
example.
Yeah. And you know what? Like
Dembele,
they would have got him before. They would have got Sancho before.
Oh, I mean, if it was Ferguson,
yeah, you would.
If it was Ferguson, they would have bought Sancho from Man City.
Yeah, they would have. Yeah,
you know, they would have got him before he goes to Dortmund.
Yep.
They had that kind of clout and that kind of power, and it's clear that they don't. And it's, I mean, I think for a couple of years, Arsenal and Manchester United were in a really similar position where it was so clear that our glory days had faded.
Yep.
And it kind of sucked for both teams. And we've taken a step in the right, one step, which is it's really hard to make steps. Once you go below top four.
Oh yeah, it's hard to get back.
That's a hard, tall step, but we're making that step.
Yeah.
And
we have a good chance that they're going to be terrible. They look all over the place. I think Ole is getting sacked sooner than later. I mean, they lost 6-1 last weekend to Tottenham. I mean,
catastrophe
at Old Trafford.
Just it looked like it could have been more, because
I mean,
they're scoring early on. Like
Mourinho just in dreamland there, just loving that. Probably I mean, they're not good. I mean, Pogba today publicly, French TV for the International says, "I want to go. My dream is to go to Real Madrid."
Yeah.
When you say this as a player for one team, like, dude, Ferguson. If Ferguson was there, Pogba would never play ever again.
Well, Ferguson sold
he did sell Pogba initially
for every reason
for
that
similar shit. Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone is anti-Pogba who's a Manchester United fan,
it is Ferguson.
Yeah, and all of the reasons why he's criticized, it's the reasons why Ferguson didn't sold him in the first place. And
he does that. He does have an attitude.
He's not the right player for them.
Yeah, that's a tough. And he's a tough player personally. Like, I think whoever manages him has to like really have control of him. Like, if you let him run wild, he's going to be a wild player. Ole has no control over Pogba right now.
No,
he doesn't have control over that team at all.
No.
And they're terrible. And I have some United friends up in Seattle, and they're just like, God, they're horrendous now. And like, I don't know what's going on there. That team is just falling apart.
Yeah. And you have like Alexis Sanchez, who said, I got there and on day one, I knew something was not right. I wanted to go back to Arsenal, like, something is rotten in Manchester. So it just makes you feel more confident about Arsenal, because even if we're not making perfect moves and there's still a lot of little niggling annoyances with the board and with players, and there's a core group there that I have complete faith in with a core group of players, and we're clearly benefiting from that.
Yeah, I think you're right. We've taken a good step in the right direction as opposed to like other teams. Like, Tottenham beat United pretty well, but I'd say that we're in a better standing than Tottenham at this point. Like, I have more faith in Arsenal doing better than Tottenham this season.
Yeah, I mean, Tottenham is in a run of form right now, but they're a form team,
Yeah, and I still think Mourinho's kind of lost it a little bit. I think teams pick up on his styles. I think he has a hard time getting Premier League games together in a long run. And I think as soon as they suffer a loss or two, they really start to spiral. They're that type of team. You're like a form team, like you said, like they're gonna lose it.
When things are going good, Tottenham's a good team.
Yep.
When things get tough, they bottle.
They're a bad team. Yeah. And they got some good players. They're a good side.
We'll see what Bale does. I'm not worried about Bale.
No.
Because Bale's the type of player. The reason why Zidane didn't like him was because Bale's like, give me the ball, I'll do something fancy, I'll score a goal, and then don't bother me for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And in the Premier League, are you going to get away with that? Are you going to get away with playing Liverpool or Man City, where they come at you with 11 players all the time?
Yeah, so he's more concerned about golf. He's more concerned about golfing anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think just hearing from his agent and everything, he just likes to be told, you're the best, you're wonderful, you never make any mistakes. And
Mourinho ain't going to do that.
Yeah, and once things don't happen like that, he's going to crumble.
Yeah.
I mean, his agent was saying that, Gareth Bale wants to win the league with Tottenham this season. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? That's just talking shit. Like, we're not saying we're going to win the league.
I mean, he hasn't even really played at Real for the last couple seasons. He's been sitting on the bench like Ozil with an umbrella over him. I mean, Bale's been more ridiculous about it. He makes faces and shit. Like, he's been checked out for a long time. So,
yeah. So we'll see. But that Sheffield game, massive.
Yeah, huge win.
Tough game. We started out poor, turned it around. I gotta say, Pepe with that micro touch, like he was coming down the wing, cut in. He took the slightest of touches and then slotted it through a keyhole.
I mean, it was just a precision. He knew it was like a precision little like dink through.
Yeah,
it didn't have a lot of pace on it at all.
Right, and to do that at full speed when you're running full speed, that's talent right there.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
That's like knowing exactly where the ball needs to go and your foot being able to do that exactly.
Yeah, to know it and then to do it.
Yeah,
two different things, hard things to do. That's the kind of player we have.
Yep,
it's exciting, and I'm glad. He did a
Yeah,
great.
and you're right, big win. That's going to take us in like mentally. Those are huge ones to get over. Sheffield's started with 4 losses, but not a bad team, and we knew it was going to be hard. It was a hard game.
Well, I mean, that can happen in the Premier League. You can have
Yeah,
4 good games, 0 points.
yeah,
We had 4, some good, some not so good. Some moments are good, some not so good. We have 9 points out of 12, having played Liverpool. I'll take that. I'll take
yeah,
that all day. And
yeah.
especially, how many wins did we have last season? Did we even get to 10 wins?
I think it was like 10. It was like 14 draws and 14 losses.
Yeah.
I think 10
So,
and 10 wins. I think that was the record.
yeah. So
That's
we're already a third
we're at
there,
3. Yeah,
which is, yeah, it's great. It's a great start.
just keep putting wins together. So internationals, we got a lot of players on duty finally again. A lot of them. That's good and bad sometimes. They sometimes come back injured.
Yeah.
Aubameyang has an ankle sprain, but that came from the Sheffield game, and I guess he's hopeful for City, but we'll see.
But I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, he didn't go. He didn't travel with the Gabon, so he stayed back in London. And I mean, we got a few British players in there. Tierney maybe has coronavirus. Did you see if he tested positive or not?
I think he tested negative, but he was close. So there was talks. They were like,
They thought he had it.
you don't have to isolate if he's testing negative, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because for him to miss Man City being negative would really suck.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate, regardless.
yeah. Well, we got Bird Leno on duty with Germany. That's huge. No, that's a tough team to get into. So, and he plays sometimes. So, it's hard when you're playing against Neuer and Ter Stegen.
Yeah. Well, Leno's, we've spoken about it before. Leno's
he's great.
fantastic.
And we got Runnerson too, the other goalkeeper, the Icelandic goalkeeper. He's on duty with Iceland.
Is he a starter or?
I don't know if he's the starter yet. I think he's a little young, but he's one for the future. I wasn't surprised that he didn't play in the cup game against Liverpool.
Yeah.
It's not that wouldn't be a game you want to dive into.
Yeah. No. And then so Saka got his debut. I didn't see how he played.
I didn't see either. I didn't catch the game yesterday.
I saw on the goal that Ings scored. He was right there though, and I feel like Ings would have somehow missed it. He finds the right positions to be in, and seems to settle in. And I was listening to this interview with him, and I thought it was great because he was saying that when he goes to the national team training headquarters, that, he just feels like a little kid, and he's running around and joking and playing, and he's like, it's just like with your friends playing football. And it was like, man, that's wonderful. He still has this childlike joy of the game, and he's going up and up and up with that attitude.
Yeah. I mean, he said he was stunned when he got the England call up.
Yeah. Got the text.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's cool that he feels that way. Yeah. I played last night for the first time since coronavirus started, and it was like that, similar actually. Every dude in there was super pumped to be in there. It was just so everyone was so energetic, and it was respectful, and it was interesting. It was a really interesting dynamic. I thought it reminded me of when we were younger and you were pumped to play so much.
And enjoying it for the pure love of the game.
Just being in it.
Yeah, it's great to have a player like that on Arsenal, and it's good that he can still feel that way at Arsenal,
Yeah.
Because you're playing for Mourinho. He doesn't want you to love the game. He wants you to hate your opponents.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Or Pep Guardiola doesn't want you to love the game. He wants you to do everything he says.
Yeah, he wants you to kind of remove your individual talents from the system.
It's you're part of the whole, check your ego at the door, which, it obviously has a point to it, and he's done very well as a manager, obviously, but you miss something of that just pure joy, which is great that Saka has that, and he's an Arsenal player. It's wonderful.
Yeah. I think Nketiah is a good one for the England team as well. He's on the under 21s right now, you said, but he's a good player.
Yeah, he'll he'll
He's going to
want,
be a good striker.
yeah, he's going to be that old kind of Dwight York
Oh yeah,
finisher.
we need to hold on to him because he's a good forward. He's going to get a lot of goals. He's sneaky. He, I mean, he scored a couple where he's baffled the keeper and
Yeah,
caught him out and scored.
quality finish.
That's hard to do.
Yeah,
The goalkeeper has a lot of time. And like they're always like pretty quick about getting rid of the ball because they don't want to get caught like that. And for them to leave themselves where he gets that close and steals the ball, that's crazy.
yeah, no, definitely good. And Arteta seems to back him. One thing about the Sheffield game I didn't understand was why Lacazette didn't
Yeah,
start.
but I don't know. Maybe it was transfer talk. Maybe there was something there.
I
That
mean,
was what people were saying. But like, I don't know. I don't think he wants to leave. And
no, he
yeah,
does, and he shouldn't. What is
yeah,
it about Lacazette that is ever since he first came, and it was such a hard thing to get him to come.
yeah,
You know, he was like a party of that era. And even there was a couple seasons where we didn't get him where we wanted him, but he
yep,
finally came and immediately from the start, he's always done well, but he never gets a run of games where he's consistently starting. Like, okay, he scored 3 goals in the first 3 games, doesn't start. Like, what do you do to put a stop to a striker's momentum besides
yeah.
benching them after they've
Benching.
scored goals?
Yeah, yeah. The forward has to keep playing. Like when you're in the scoring mode, you're in it. And those like for him, he's really you can tell he's a mental player and he gets down on himself. I think.
Yeah. And once you're in it, if you're in the scoring zone as a
Yeah,
striker, if you take a game off just to rest, you might be out of it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's something
yeah,
that you need to just keep doing and doing and doing and doing because
yeah.
once you have one game where you don't score, you don't know when that next goal is going to come. And then every minute that goes by that you don't score builds the pressure. So I don't know why we
Absolutely. Yeah.
can't give him a good run of confidence and
Did
support.
I didn't see if he went with the French squad? Did he?
I'm not sure. I don't think
He
he.
doesn't really get called up to the French team. He got left out of the World Cup squad. That was like a blow for him, which
Yeah,
is weird. Why would you leave him out of the World Cup squad? Like he is that kind. He he's a crafty striker, and he gets goals in weird places. And
no. Goals,
he,
games.
yeah, he. I mean, I
You
really
have
like
him. You have
Lacazette.
him marked too.
I really like Lacazette. Like I think he's a great player.
Agreed. Agreed. I think when people were starting to talk about him like he was having a crappy season last season, I was like,
Dude,
dude.
he's just in a slump. He's just in a goal slump. He needs some confidence.
And then
Like
he scored big goals. He scored against
yeah,
Tottenham, a thunderous strike. He scored
yeah.
against Olympiacos. Like that to me right there tells me that give him a chance. Give him a
Yeah.
chance. He has to get this down to the wall.
He scores against big teams too. Always.
Right.
Probably more than Aubameyang. I think Lacazette probably against big teams has a higher percentage of goals.
That'd be an interesting stat to look at, but
Yeah,
yeah, I agree. That's probably true.
because I can't think of Lacazette scoring in the huge games where like I can notably think about Lacazette scoring against Chelsea, Tottenham, City.
Yeah, couple against Tottenham.
Yeah.
Look at that.
He had
Like
a banger. He had a banger in the box against Chelsea in January of last year. Like ran around like in the six and just buried it top corner. Like he always is good at close range too.
yeah, for sure.
But we have a good strike team. I mean, I think Pepe went to Ivory Coast. A lot of the players went. We got most of them gone, which is good for the team overall. Like you want the players to be playing for their countries because they're just getting better when they go play for their country.
And it's a confidence thing. I think it's
Yep,
almost like
the
when we were playing.
bragging rights.
Yeah, and just to know that I'm one of the best players in my country. That just
Yeah,
gives you a huge confidence boost.
yeah,
And the different change of pace. It's like when we were playing club and it's like, okay, this is tough, this is hard. You know, we're fighting for a position, we're playing really hard teams. And then you go
but
play
then you
for
play for
a
high
high school
school
varsity team.
and
They
you're a
make you feel
baller.
like you're a star. You know what I mean?
Well, we were, because like your friends got to watch you in school, and we
Yeah,
were better than everybody else.
yeah. The level
Yeah,
drops, but
yeah,
the the attention goes way up,
yeah.
and you
So
just feel
same thing.
like it's just that easy
Yeah,
confidence boost, and you go there and
totally.
you feel like, okay, I'm gonna go and ball, and
Yep.
that's a good experience. It's also you're dealing with the coach who's like talking to you and like respects you, and like just building you up, and it's good to have that kind of change of pace too, instead of like a training ground at Arsenal where it's like, if you're not tough, you're out of here. Or, a
Yeah,
Man City,
yeah.
for example, where you're almost like a little scared of like, oh
Well,
shit.
because I think probably playing for their country is a lot different. Like I mean, the management style has to be a lot different, because you can't put together a long-term thing like you can with like the club. So
Yeah.
they're managing it much differently in those couple weeks. They're not talking all the time, and not like, it's only when game times comes that they're working on things. And so it's probably a much more fun environment for them. So, and you're right, and it's a prestigious thing, and they come back with confidence. How many times do players leave, go play well on international duty, and come back and take off?
Right. Yeah.
So
Definitely good. Also, there's a period there where like
we
just
know it.
players weren't getting called up, and it's like,
Yeah,
and you're looking at the Arsenal team of the last decade, and you're like, who would call them up? You
yeah,
know?
they weren't good.
Yeah, like is Bellerin going to break into the Spain squad? That
I don't
squad
think so. Yeah,
at every position. There's two or three players, and
well
probably
ahead.
one no-name player who is actually good enough to be there.
Well, they even just get these like players like the Ansu kid that just like comes out of nowhere and is just like amazing.
Yeah,
Is like, I didn't even hear of that kid, and then all of a sudden it was like, this person's incredible.
yeah. I mean, he's a potential one for the future because he's scoring regularly.
Yeah,
Scored for Spain. He's
yeah,
17. He just barely turned 17 too.
he's like really good. We
Another
have an
one.
American player on Barcelona now that's really good. That Dest kid. He
Yeah,
like grew up in Europe, and he is,
Ajax or something.
yeah, but his father's American, and he chose to play for the U.S. as internet at top level. So we actually have, and he plays at Barcelona right now. He signed for Barcelona like a week ago.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know he was American though.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean the U.S. If we navigate it, we have players playing in top teams now.
yeah, we do. We
And
got some. Finally, it's looking like they might have a squad that like actually could be all right. I mean, we know as Americans, our team's never been very good. Like, and comparatively to like the European top squads, like you're never gonna beat France.
Yeah, or I mean playing Germany or
Yeah,
Brazil.
any
And
of them.
yeah, the mentality of it was different. I feel like in America we try to approach it like it's American football or basketball.
Mhm.
It's just a different mentality with soccer. So hopefully that kind of starts to change
Yeah,
culturally. But
but yeah, a lot of international players on duty. That's good.
yeah, definitely a good
So
sign.
good,
Another
good for
sign,
mentality.
another step. That's part of
Yep,
the step of getting back to top four is like if
exactly.
you're in your top four, that means 9 of your players or so are on national teams. That's a
Yep.
regular part of
And we signed an international player like Partey is in the Ghana squad, and that's always a good team.
yeah,
They're
Ghana's
tough. I
yeah,
mean, they've been always known as like a powerhouse team, so they're good.
for sure. I'm excited to see how Partey
Me too.
actually
And
starts.
I like all the puns that they were using, like "Welcome to the Partey."
Yeah. No Thomas, no Partey. Did you hear his
Yeah, yeah.
bro? He seems like his style though seems like he's gonna fit in with
With Aubameyang and
yeah,
Lacazette, yeah, and
and
oh,
Willian
these,
and
yeah, they're gonna be all fucking
goofing
around,
off
and
and having fun.
yeah, yeah,
And I mean, he's like
yeah.
the tall,
That
swole, creative player. I was watching some highlights of his. He scores goals too. He takes shots. He rips it.
yeah,
He's kind of like a
yeah.
Coutinho, where he'll rip it from
Curve, yeah,
25 out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's good. I watched some highlights of him. He's a solid player.
Like we need a player like Shaka El Neni. Ceballos,
Hmm.
they don't really take a lot of shots. I mean,
They
Xhaka
don't.
will
No.
score his left footer once every season and a half.
Yeah.
You know,
But not. It's not
Ceballos
often enough. Yeah. Ceballos rarely
odd
shoots.
goal. I wish he would add goals and assists to his game. Maybe he
Yeah.
will. They'll put him forward. We can talk about this with the look ahead to City,
Yep.
and now we can talk about formation because now if we have Party, can we have a creative attacking midfielder? And if so, who would that be? Who do you think?
Saka. I would play Saka there.
Saka? That's
Could play
interesting.
it. You could play him there. I mean, like he's already like on the wing, but I mean, I would maybe play Partey there. Do you drop Partey in the Man City game right away? You think he's going to do it?
I'd have to say probably not, but
So, he'll
I would
probably
love for it to
suck.
happen.
Yeah, me too. I think
You
it'd be
sign a new
interesting.
player and bring him, it's because you want him to start. If you're signing a player
Yeah.
as backup, what's really sometimes you do that, but you don't pay big money for a
Mhm.
backup. So
I'm more just mean to like learn the game there and how they play because he's on international duty, so he's not going to have a lot of time to train with the
yeah,
team.
yeah,
You might have him come on as a sub.
yeah.
I think he can play into that role. He looks to be like an Aaron Ramsey box to box midfielder. So I don't know. Would you play him in center attacking midfielder?
Party?
Yeah.
Uh,
Or who would you put there?
well, I mean, it depends on what the formation really ends up being. If they change it to a 3-5-2 or a 4-3-3, is he the center, and then you have different people is
Around him.
holding it down in the midfield
Yeah.
as the only one as center mid, or a 4-2-3-1 with him as being one of the defensive center mids, but then you have push. There's been talks of Ceballos stepping up and being just the creative, which maybe
Yeah.
he doesn't
Yeah.
have to defend, and if he's getting the ball a lot further up the field and not getting it so deep and having to come back and then move forward and do all that extra work, maybe he will be able to just slot people through.
I like that 3-5-2 sound.
Yeah, because
Could be interesting.
we've been hanging with the three backs, the three
Yeah.
defenders.
You get the other two as well. You have 5 defenders then if the wing backs drop.
Yeah, it gives
And
us
then a center midfielder coming through too. That's 6 people.
yeah.
I mean, we seem to be moving well as a unit anyway, so
Yeah. Yeah, so Man City when we come back. Tough.
yeah, and they haven't particularly played very well lately, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to play well against us.
Yeah.
Home or away? Home or away?
Away.
Away.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be a tough game.
Always tough to play them. It's the team that you come out and play like crap, you'll get smacked.
We did beat them last time.
Yes. And I think we can beat them again.
I think they're not unbeatable.
They're not unbeatable.
Yeah.
I mean, we got smacked by Leicester.
And Arteta does know them.
He knows the playbook.
He knows them well. He assistant manager there for 3 years. You're gonna know the players, the team, what Pep thinks, more than what I think. Arteta has the advantage over Pep now because he knows what Pep thinks. Pep doesn't know what Arteta thinks all the way because Arteta had something buried in his brain, probably like, I'm going to keep this one into me. I'm going to take this, and this, and I'm going to put it together.
Even how you see like how Arteta's obviously said like, David Luiz, if you see the over the top, play it.
Yeah.
Like Pep wouldn't do that. That's not a Pep move. That's a Arteta move.
I think Arteta does like implement similar things to Pep, but also gives the players more freedom than Pep gives. He'll say like, if you got that, go for it. Like, let me see it, make it happen.
Yeah.
Prove to me like why you think that that's the right decision, and I'm fine with it. And
I hope that our team, what I was seeing in the first half against Sheffield was the players were just not doing that enough.
yeah,
I want to
yeah,
see Saka and Eddie and Maitland-Niles. Like Maitland-Niles was kind of doing that in the England game, and I was like, oh, this is what Maitland-Niles does. Like he can get the ball and play crisp passes, make runs. He's still a little bit hesitant about like, do I really go for it or do I hang back and play within myself? I think he needs to something needs to click for him for
I
sure.
think
But
I think for the game, I think we have some good confidence going into it. If Aubameyang's fit and can play, obviously our chances go up
hopefully
significantly.
he can be in the
Hopefully
squad.
Tierney can
I wouldn't
play.
want Kolasinac. Honestly, I wouldn't want
No,
Kolasinac playing against Man City because right
no,
away Pep says pressure Kolasinac every time.
yeah, yeah,
You-
yeah, because he's gonna crumble. Yeah, I mean, I think if we have injuries go our way, then and sickness and everything, and we can field a solid team, I think we have a good chance.
Yeah, and even if we can get away with a tie, or
Two
even if
two.
we,
We're
yeah,
both gonna score. They've not been as defensively sound lately. They've been letting in a lot of goals.
yeah.
You can score on them right now. So
I think 2-2 is a good
yeah,
prediction. And if we can get a draw,
yeah,
that's another big team that we're playing all in a row.
yep. Just not
But
dropping points,
yeah,
not dropping as many points. So
yeah. But and also too, it's better to win the games that you win and then lose games that you lose. Like it's better
yeah,
to get wins and losses than draws. Draws
yeah.
just fuck
Well, we
everything.
had well we had 14 last season, so
Yeah, 14.
that's
That's
just so mediocre.
many. Yeah, so
It's
many.
so it's just we were a mid-table team almost. We were ninth place or something. It's
Yeah,
horrendous. That's horrendous.
right. So
So
that'll
it'll be a good game. We'll have something that we can talk more about it next week because it's not happening yet. So you know
yeah.
we can kind of see where we're at next Friday.
Yeah, see what the projected lineups will
Yeah,
be and
if
what.
Partey can get back into the team, they get back usually on Wednesday and stuff, right?
I imagine.
Yeah, and then they usually have a few days to practice and get ready for the game. They don't. I mean, they don't show up on Friday, so it's usually Tuesday and Wednesday.
Right. Cool.
So until
Yeah.
next time,
Yeah.
we
Well,
have
I'm still.
we'll have
I ordered a book from Amazon yesterday. Herbert Chapman on football.
oh,
It's like
sounds
his like autobiography plus like his theory of football. So
nice.
hopefully,
That
if
sounds
it
interesting.
and I get
Yeah,
a chance to look through it a little bit, we can talk about that because
yeah,
he does seem to be the spirit of Arsenal. And even from what I was reading in the beginning, I was like, man, this sounds really contemporary.
yeah,
Stuff
yeah.
they
He
talk
was like
about.
innovator there, right?
Yeah, one of the main guys that won their first title. So
Yeah,
this should
yeah.
be
That
interesting.
sounds
We can probably talk about it because it might be a slower week with news and whatnot.
yeah. Maybe we'll talk about history or something. Bring up some Gunner folklore.
Facts and Gunnersaurus.
Gunnersaurus, yeah, yeah. Ozil willing to pay his wage of what 20,000 quid is like an he makes 350 a week.
But also too, he's been just straight up talking shit.
Yeah,
But all that does,
they had a meeting. I saw on Sky right before we got on today. They're having a meeting in the next week to try to offload him. That like they want him off the roster right now. Like
yeah,
time to go.
he's gone rogue. He's using the press against the team.
Yeah, I
But
mean he's like I'll pay for the Gunnersaurus' salary because like he's definitely just like yeah.
Yeah, and
And he didn't get into the
stuff with
Europa team squad and
McDuffie.
yeah
It's
he's
all like slight, petty, like
yeah
backhanded, like trying to be like, "Oh man, we love you, dude. We're such a family, and we're so glad we're gonna miss you." And it's like, dude, fuck you, man. That's just to make yourself look good, and then make the club look like shit. And granted, the board can go fuck themselves at Arsenal.
Yeah.
But you're not just affecting the board. You're talking shit about the whole team. And dude, you're still
Totally.
a
Yeah.
fucking player, dude. Like, why are you? What are you doing? You know, get on the field and let your play speak for you for
I mean,
once.
he makes $1 million a month
Yeah, to talk
and
shit.
doesn't play football.
Yeah, plays FIFA.
Yeah. Well, until next time, we'll have a lot to talk about next week.
For sure.
Hopefully all the players stay fit on international duty.
Yep.
And yeah. All right, mate.
All right,
See you
good
next
stuff.
week.
All right, dude.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.